Welcome everyone. The CDO's magazine series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President, Sandhill Consultants, and I'm coming to you today from Toronto, Canada. Working with the CDO magazine, the MIT CDO IQ Symposium, and International Society of Chief Data Officers. Today, we've got the pleasure of introducing John Bottega, who is the President of the EDM Council. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks for having me.
I think you're a big proponent of identifying defensive positions and offensive positions, and especially how enterprise data literacy may actually help generate the revenue. Any thoughts on that offense strategy?
I think the defensive posture, we have to kind of tip our hats to it, because that really drove the data management concept. And again, I kind of allude back to the financial crisis. Tremendous pressure was put on the financial institutions to make sure you can demonstrate that you understand your information, that you're reporting properly to the regulatory authorities. Like I said, the canary in the coal mine, tell me about your risks before they go off the rails, right? Well, that's great, but that's not sustainable, because our job in organizations is to increase revenue, improve customer service, create better products and services. When we got through the crisis of the financial meltdown, firms started to say, hey, all of this stuff we created, we don't have to redo it. Let's now apply that to the offensive posture of information, understanding our markets better, building better products, reducing costs, things of that nature. So if it's done properly, the infrastructure you build, Robert, is the same.
Right.
But now, and especially now with things like artificial intelligence and machine learning, we're now at a point where we can apply modern technology capability to really drive that offensive kind of posture of improve sales, reduce costs. And by the way, one thing that's become very, very big right now, I'm sure your listeners will agree, is the ESG, climate, social issues, right?
Yes.
Challenges around climate data, carbon emissions, et cetera. It's a data problem also. And similarly to the finance space, if you don't have good data, how do you combat it?
Yes, I believe we did an interview with Eric on ESG. The EDM Council is doing some wonderful knowledge transfer and updates on ESG in general, especially from the data management perspective and the challenges that this will bring up. So you guys are doing great stuff in that space, I have to say.
In the same vein, you can look at it defensively. We better do this. But one of the things that I had the pleasure of witnessing, the council was invited to COP26 last year in Scotland. And in one of the displays, I was blown away. Some of the amazing things that companies are doing, in cleaning up ocean bottoms and reforestation and so forth. So they're using data offensively, right, to make things better, not just defensively. Oh, I have to cut and reduce and so forth. So again, those two are yin yang. They're important.
Well, they go together. There you go. Just in the last few minutes, with again coming back to you and your experience, your knowledge, dealing with many different organizations and industries, I wonder if you might have a view onto which industries are ripe for a change in data literacy this coming year, and maybe you can expand upon some of the methods that can be used for improvements or to measure improvements in this area.
Can I just say everybody?
You can do, but we would like so are we really, this comes back to, are we really that bad that everyone needs to step up? Like, what do you think?
Well, again, I don't like to use the word we're bad, but the benefits that can be realized is every industry. Clearly, finance has gone through that growth experience, or that pain of having a crisis and managing through it. The climate space, I think, is going to be another example. Think about, how can we forget the pandemic? information was so critical to addressing the spread of the disease, the contact tracing and so forth. I mean, there were some amazing stories of, cell phones, seeing that people traveled, and now I can see how it moved around and so forth. So, when you ask what industry is right for it, energy, medicine, pharmaceuticals, finance, manufacturing, they all benefit from this. I don't want to say one is better than the other. I mean, often you'll hear, well, finance is ahead of the curve, only because they got pulled in sooner. And again, not to discredit the work that's been done in the finance industry, fantastic, right? But you're seeing now equivalent capabilities emerging in other verticals, and I think that's great news. I do a lot of work with the public sector. The council does work in supporting the public sector as well, and we're seeing this in regulatory bodies and regulatory agencies. Data transparency is just increasing, and the knowledge of the benefits of data management for public goods. So that's my justification for saying everybody. It's there's a benefit to every industry.
I mean, you obviously mentioned EDM Council there and your partner community. I wonder if maybe you can maybe expand a little bit about how the EDM Council and your partner community can assist clients on this journey of evolving their data literacy.
Well, I think I could say without reservation that we've been doing that. As a trade association, we adhere to some basic fundamental principles. Data literacy for all is one of them. In fact, it's in our charter. Advancing collaboration with subject matter experts. We don't want to be the smartest people in the room. We want to draw the smartest people into the room and help us work with that stuff. So as a trade association, we build awareness, we provide training and education, we create a community of professionals who can learn from one another. And as you're aware, and we mentioned this before, we develop best practice frameworks. So it's not the new CDO for the first time sitting with no documentation.
Right.
We've got guidelines and books and actually stories, real practical examples, which really uplifts every industry and every executive. Even the seasoned executive could learn from someone else's experience. So that's what we do. We're the marriage broker of knowledge, I'll say.
And for listeners that want to check out EDM Council, they can go to edmcouncil.org to find out those stories and successes and the blueprints. I will ask just one last question. We're heading up the end of the time here. As machine learning and artificial intelligence is critical and evolving continuously, how do you see this helping on the journey of data literacy for everyone?
Can I rephrase that?
Yes. Yes.
It's not how AI and ML will help data literacy. I think how data literacy is going to help AI and ML. Right? Repeatedly, at least throughout my 40-year career, technology was always ahead of data management, in its capability. AI and ML are fantastic capabilities, fantastic technologies. But I'm going to say the obvious, Robert: garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If we infuse bad data into those platforms, we get less than perfect responses, right? And this goes back to the statement I made about responsibility. Information as an asset could be biased. It could be skewed in a different way, and not sometimes as obvious, right? There could be small biases in there that affect what you're doing. So that's why, again, everybody who touches data has to have an understanding of information, because that creates a quality product and that feeds your ML and AI. Now, it's not to say that we're not using these tools to do data cleansing and things like that, but really it's as factors of input into those technologies, that's where data literacy has to come to play.
Excellent. And John, where did time go? On behalf of the CDU magazine, we'd really like to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We hope our listeners do. And we hope that we'll get the chance to come back and have you share you and the members of the council share more of your knowledge and experience of what's going on with the EDM Council and in the future with the team.
Robert, thank you. And you don't have to ask me twice. I'd love to come back.
We do appreciate it. And for our listeners, please visit cdmmagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.